Welcome to Simply Explained English. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
Okay, today we'll listen to a podcast about Do you want to speak English better?
Let's listen to it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, English for Everyone. I'm Mark.
And I'm Emma. Today, we're talking about something many of our listeners struggle with, the fear of speaking English.
Exactly. So many people learn English for years, but still feel scared to actually speak it. Emma, why do you think people are afraid? Why do people shy away from speaking English?
Well, most worry about making mistakes. They think, if I say something wrong, people will laugh at me.
But that's not true, is it? Making mistakes is actually how we learn.
Absolutely. Did you know there's research showing that making mistakes helps us remember things better? When we correct our errors, our brain remembers the right way more strongly.
That's fascinating. I have an interesting example, too. The longest English fan fiction ever written was by someone who wasn't a native English speaker. They just practiced consistently and improved over time.
That's amazing. So let's help our listeners overcome this fear. What's the first tip you would give, Mark?
Start small. You don't need to have perfect conversations right away. Begin with simple, everyday phrases.
Like what?
Things like, "Hi, my name is Mark," or "Where is the nearest supermarket?" Or even, "The weather is nice today, isn't it?"
Those are perfect examples. Starting with small, easy sentences helps build confidence. Research shows completing small tasks makes us feel motivated to continue learning.
Our second tip is to learn from mistakes instead of fearing them. Emma, can you explain this?
Sure, when you make a mistake, don't feel bad. Instead, think, great, I just learned something new. For example, if you say, I go to work yesterday instead of, I went to work yesterday, you're learning about past tense.
Exactly. Each mistake is a chance to improve. Now, our third tip is really important. Listen before you speak.
Yes, listening to native speakers helps you learn natural pronunciation and rhythm. It's like training your ear before using your voice.
What are some good ways to practice listening, Emma?
Podcasts like this one are perfect. Also, watching movies or TV shows in English. Even just paying attention when you hear English speakers talking in real life.
And a great exercise is to try to copy what native speakers say, their pronunciation and tone. This is called shadowing.
Our fourth tip is to learn in chunks instead of individual words. Mark, what does that mean?
Instead of learning single words, learn whole phrases. For example, don't just learn the word decision. Learn make a decision as a complete phrase.
This makes your English sound more natural because native speakers use these word combinations all the time.
Tip number 5 is to use language learning apps. There are so many helpful apps now.
Like Duolingo for vocabulary, HelloTalk to connect with native speakers, BBC Learning English for structured lessons, and Elsa Speak for pronunciation.
These apps make it easy to practice a little bit every day, which is much better than studying for hours once a week.
Our sixth tip is to find a speaking partner. This could be a friend who's also learning English or someone you meet in an English club.
Or you can use language exchange platforms online. Speaking with a real person really helps build confidence.
Now, let's talk about accents. Many learners worry about their accents. What would you say to them, Mark?
Your accent is part of who you are. You don't need to sound exactly like a native speaker. Don't try to put on a fake accent. The most important thing is being understood.
That's right. Even native English speakers have different accents depending on where they're from.
Now let's talk about some effective practice methods. We mentioned shadowing earlier. Can you explain that again, Emma?
Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat immediately after them, trying to match their speed and tone. It's great for improving pronunciation and rhythm.
And what resources would you recommend for shadowing?
Movies, podcasts like this one, and YouTube videos are all perfect for shadowing practice.
Our next method is to practice a little every day. 15 minutes daily is much better than one long study session once a week.
Consistency is key. Small, regular practice leads to big improvements over time.
And finally, make learning fun. Watch movies with English subtitles, listen to English music, or read books you enjoy in English.
When learning is enjoyable, you're more likely to continue and make progress.
We've covered a lot today. Let's summarize our main points.
First, don't be afraid of making mistakes. They help you learn. Start with simple phrases, listen carefully to native speakers, and learn phrases instead of individual words.
Use apps to practice, find a speaking partner, embrace your accent, and try techniques like shadowing. Most importantly, practice consistently and make it fun.
Remember, everyone who speaks English fluently today started as a beginner. The key is to keep practicing and not give up.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening to English for Everyone.
We hope these tips help you feel more confident speaking English. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Eric, did you listen to today's podcast episode?
Yeah, I did. It was really interesting. I liked how they said making mistakes helps us learn.
Me too. It's just part of learning.
Same here. Maybe we can make a podcast about this.
Great idea. Okay, let's start our podcast. What are today's words, Eric?
The first word today is fascinating. Then we will continue with to be likely to and put on something. Then give up, and the final one is shy away from something.
Okay, let's start with the first word.
The first word is fascinating.
Fascinating. Ooh, fascinating. I love that word. But what exactly does it mean?
The word fascinating is an adjective, and it means something that is very interesting or strongly grabs your attention.
Ah, so if something is fascinating, it makes you want to keep listening, watching, or learning about it.
Exactly. Imagine you are watching a documentary about deep-sea creatures, and you just can't stop watching because everything looks so amazing. You could say, "This documentary is fascinating."
Oh, I get it. So if I read a book that I can't put down because the story is so exciting, I can say, "This book is fascinating."
Perfect example. We often use fascinating with topics that are unusual, surprising, or really interesting.
Like history, science, or different cultures?
Yes, right, Lisa. You might hear someone say, "I find ancient Egypt fascinating," or "His speech about space travel was absolutely fascinating."
Nice. And what about grammar? Can we use fascinating in different ways?
Good question. Fascinating is often used to link verbs like is, looks, sounds, and seems. For example, this idea sounds fascinating. The museum was fascinating.
Can we use fascinate as a verb too?
Absolutely. You can say, "This subject fascinates me," or "I'm fascinated by astronomy." The verb to fascinate means to attract or captivate someone's interest strongly.
This is such a useful word. But tell me, Eric, what do you find fascinating?
I find the universe fascinating. There's so much we don't know about space, and it's amazing to learn about it.
That's a great example. Listeners, what do you find fascinating? Think about something that really interests you and try using the word in a sentence. Okay, let's move on to the next word.
The next word is to be likely to.
To be likely to.
To be likely to is a useful phrase that helps us talk about things that will probably happen. When we say something is likely to happen, we mean it will probably happen. There's a good chance it will happen.
So if I say, "It's likely to rain tomorrow," I mean it will probably rain?
Exactly. You're saying there's a good chance of rain tomorrow. Here's another example. She is likely to pass the test because she studied hard.
Can we use it to talk about people too?
Yes. For example, people who exercise regularly are likely to be healthier. This means people who exercise probably have better health.
What about negative sentences?
We can say unlikely to for things that probably won't happen. For example, he is unlikely to come to the party means he probably won't come.
Is this phrase formal or casual, Eric?
It's neutral. You can use it in casual conversations and in more formal writing or speaking.
Let's give another example. If you don't wear a coat, you're likely to catch a cold.
Good one. And here's one more. The bus is likely to be late because of the snow.
Can we use different words with likely?
Yes. We can say very likely, high probability, quite likely, good probability, or not likely, low probability.
So likely to helps us talk about things that will probably happen in the future?
Yes, but we can also use it for general truths. Cats are likely to sleep during the day.
Got it. Shall we move on to the next word?
Let's do that. The next word is put on.
Put on.
Well, put on has a few meanings, but today we'll focus on two important ones. The first meaning is to wear something, like clothes, shoes, or accessories.
Ah, so when I wake up in the morning and get dressed, I put on my clothes.
Exactly. Here's an example. It's cold outside, so don't forget to put on your jacket.
Got it. And you said there's another meaning?
The other meaning of put on is that it's about pretending or acting in a way that isn't real. For example, he put on a brave face even though he was scared.
So if I say, she's putting on an accent, I mean, she's faking an accent that isn't her real one?
Exactly. She's pretending to speak with a different accent. Here's another example. Don't put on that innocent look. I know you ate the cookies.
We often use it with feelings or behaviors, right?
Yes. Common examples are put on a smile, put on a brave face, or put on an act. All these mean someone is pretending.
What about he's putting on airs? What does that mean?
Good question. Putting on airs means pretending to be more important or sophisticated than you really are. It's usually negative.
Is this phrase formal or casual?
It's more common in casual, everyday speech. In formal situations, you might say pretend.
Let's give another example. She put on a happy voice when she answered the phone, but I could tell she was sad.
Perfect. And here's one more. Stop putting on that silly voice. Just talk normally.
How do we know if put on means wearing clothes or pretending?
The context usually makes it clear. If there's a piece of clothing, like put on a hat, it's about wearing. If it's a behavior, feeling, or voice, like put on a smile, it's about pretending.
Got it. Okay, well, I think we've explained put on pretty well. Let's move on to the next word.
The next word is give up.
Give up. Oh, I hear that all the time. What does it mean?
Give up has two common meanings. The first meaning is to stop trying because something is too difficult.
Ah, so if I'm trying to solve a really hard puzzle, but it's just too difficult, I could say, I give up.
Or if someone is learning to play the piano but finds it too hard, they might say, I don't want to practice anymore. I'm going to give up.
Oh no, but I hope they keep trying.
Me too. It's always good to keep going and not give up too easily.
That's true. What's the second meaning of give up?
The second meaning is to stop doing something, especially a habit.
Like when people stop smoking, they say, I want to give up smoking.
Yes, you can also say, I'm trying to give up eating too much junk food.
That's a great example. So, give up can mean to stop trying or to stop a habit.
That's right. Listeners, can you think of something you have given up or something you don't want to give up on? Try using the phrase in a sentence.
Great idea. And remember, never give up on learning English.
Yes, keep practicing and keep going.
Okay, that's all for the word give up. Now let's have a look at the last word today.
The last word is shy away from something.
Shy away from something.
Shy away from something means to avoid something because you feel nervous, afraid, or unsure about it.
So if someone is afraid of public speaking, they might shy away from giving a speech?
Yes, correct, Lisa. Here's an example. He always shies away from talking in big meetings because he gets nervous.
That makes sense. So it's often used when people avoid things that make them uncomfortable.
Right. Another example. She shied away from asking for help because she was too shy.
Got it. And I noticed that shy changes depending on the tense. Like, in the past, we say shied away.
Yes, that's a great point. In the present, we say shy away from, and in the past, we say shied away from.
So, Eric, is there anything you shy away from?
I sometimes shy away from trying new foods if they look too strange.
Uh-huh, that's a good one. What about you, listeners? Is there something you shy away from? Try using the phrase in a sentence.
Great idea. And remember, don't shy away from practicing English.
Yes, keep learning and keep improving. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more useful phrases.
Thanks for listening. Keep studying your English.
And stay tuned. Bye for now.